Hey y'all, this week has been a particularly busy week for me. So trying to keep up with going live has definitely been a little bit of a challenge, but I am here and we are going to get back started on this book. I hope everyone had a really good day. I had a great day. And then I went to pick up my dog from daycare, and the daycare lady told me that she was having some problems with him and that it might not be a good idea for him to come back. So I was a little disappointed about that, but I understand she's running a business. And then she sent me a video of what he was doing, my dog, and I didn't see anything to be concerned about. I'm not so concerned that, she'd kick him out of daycare, but I need to go live on here too. How's everybody doing? I think that's my son coming in. Yeah, that's my son. Okay. I'm trying to get everything situated. I'm sorry. Whoopsie.
Here are the product details from Amazon. The first one is Prismacolor Premier Pencil Sharpener.
Hey. What's that? Everything for the food is in the fridge. Okay. So, as I was saying, I didn't see anything concerning in the video that she sent me. But I do understand that there are other dogs there. And whatever he did was obviously a concern. So, but I am disappointed. Anywho, it's 7:30. I had to come on a little bit later because I was cooking dinner and then realized that I didn't have any sour cream or tomatoes. So I had to go back to the store and get all that. All right. So I think we'll be able to go through chapter 2, which is about the attachment theory and about mother hunger. And then
Attachment theory
we'll stop there.
Mother hunger.
Okay.
Attachment theory is gaining momentum as
Let me
the
know if you can hear it.
overarching psychological explanation for why humans live and love the way we do. Our individual attachment style is an embodied map for how we connect with others. While human attachment behaviors are diverse, we each have dominant patterns of connecting and relating with others that imprint very early. For purposes of understanding mother hunger, we will take a close look at the formative months in our mother's care when we are learning to attach. Dr. Dan Siegel, author, psychiatrist, and director of the Center for Human Development at UCLA, offers a clinical perspective. Quote, attachment establishes an interpersonal relationship that helps the immature brain, the child's, use the mature functions of the parent's brain to organize its own processes. End of quote. In the absence of a steady, nurturing, protective adult, early attachment lessons can lead to insecurity. Mother hunger is a term that describes what adult insecure attachment feels like and what happens when essential elements of maternal care are missing. Understanding the root cause of insecure attachment directs healing and increases the possibility for forming secure attachment in adulthood. Attachment theory. Attachment theory was born after World War II when John Bowlby, a British psychiatrist and psychoanalyst who worked in orphanages, noted that even though the children were receiving food, shelter, and medical care, they did not thrive. In fact, many died. Bowlby began to study how this could happen, and later, Mary Ainsworth expanded on his work.
That's interesting.
From their research, tested around the world many times since, attachment theory brings us back to a basic truth. Human babies are hardwired to depend on caregiver nurturance. Babies are bonding machines, biologically designed to stay close to a primary caregiver.
I mean, that makes sense.
If a baby or child isn't thriving, it may not mean something's wrong with them. Rather, it can be an indication that something is absent in the caregiving environment. Just as a newborn needs protein and fat to build her brain and body, she needs her mother's warmth to strengthen the social areas of her brain. Cuddling stimulates infant brain growth. So do the thousands of micro interactions that come with being changed, fed, and carried. Each moment has the potential to build a sense that people equal pleasure and that the world is a welcome, safe place to be. Peaceful, responsive interactions between a mother and her baby stimulate the infant's brain reward center, activating dopamine, serotonin, and other neurotransmitters that make life feel good. The more snuggling there is in a baby's world, the more receptive her brain will be to love and other happy feelings as she grows. In the first 18 months of her life, her rapidly growing sensory neurons are silently learning from her mother's responsive proximity. Healthy maternal care enhances development of the right brain, and the right brain is the heart of future common sense thinking and the ability to read other people's cues and cultivate empathy for how others feel. Right brain growth depends on predictable, sensitive attachment moments. Dr. Alan Shore, professor of interpersonal neurobiology at the Geffen School of Medicine at UCLA, calls this, quote, an experience-dependent process. In this way, a mother's love is the foundation for a brain that fundamentally trusts or mistrusts human connection. Learning to attach. Primitive experiences of loving touch and safe sounds are stored in the body as implicit memory. Implicit memory, or body-based memory, is how we hold information about the world and our family before explicit memory, or conscious memory, comes online. Explicit memory lets us recall what happened yesterday, last year, or last night. Our understanding of implicit memory comes from psychologists Peter Graff and Daniel Schachter, whose findings illuminate how and why we sometimes react to early experiences without having a conscious memory of them. Our cells hold the stories of very early experiences regardless of how much time has passed. But implicit memory has no recall. Because portions of our limbic brain, specifically the amygdala, where emotions are processed, are functioning
Right.
at birth, initial human interactions are very important. Even as infants, we capture sensations about the environment, safety, belonging, joy, stress, in our implicit memory. Implicit memory is a primitive part of our innate intelligence, teaching us about safety and love before higher cortical areas of the brain develop and help us understand reality. From the last trimester of pregnancy through a baby's second year of life, the brain doubles in size. During this time of rapid growth, a baby's brain depends on her primary caregiver's brain for emotional regulation, to soothe distress, to feel safe, to trust human connection. She can't yet think for herself. In other words, she needs her caregivers to translate love into baby language through sound, touch, and consistency. Given the science that informs us that little ones don't have the ability to think like children or adults, it's unfortunate how many misinformed parenting experts teach parents that babies can be manipulative. Manipulation is a higher thinking process that's not yet possible, and it won't be for years. Crying or tantrums are not efforts to manipulate caregivers. They are signs of distress and a signal for help. Young, developing children do not have the capacity to regulate emotions by themselves. They learn this from the care they receive. In essence, babies are sharing a brain with their mothers as they wait for the cognitive brain regions that govern logic and reason to develop. Physical proximity and sensitive interactions with the mother or primary caregiver support the biological processes that allow the brain to develop optimally. And when brain hemispheres work well together, learning and regulating emotions is easier. Both aptitudes are entirely dependent on early nurturance and protection, which means that mothers are essentially brain architects. I certainly didn't realize the magnitude of mothering when I was a young mother. This information wasn't available, and I simply didn't know what I didn't know. Attachment patterns. The feelings connected to early care are imprinted in implicit memory. And implicit memory informs our unique attachment-seeking patterns. In this way, our body-mind directs the story of day-to-day life, whether we have awareness of it or not. Lack of awareness and access to these early experiences explains why it's common to think everyone socializes or bonds, plays, or works the same way we do. We may not understand how unique our attachment patterns and behaviors are until there's a conflict with someone we care about. Conflict brings a chance to learn something new about how we bond, what we need, and how others interpret our behaviors. But many of us shy away from the wisdom embedded in conflict because we don't have the tools to understand our own troubling moods or fervent jealousies. We simply don't know why we feel the way we do. the logical part of our brain is missing the key, explicit memory. To early personality formation, implicit memory. When we gain insight into our body's sensations and pay attention to our feelings, we have more control over our choices and behaviors. This process takes time, however, because without explicit memory of our formative months and years, the story of how we learn to attach and to love is not readily available. But be assured that as you learn more about essential elements of maternal care, such as attunement and mirroring, your body-mind may begin to recognize what was lost in your formative years. While recognition may bring difficult emotions, these unpleasant or startling feelings prepare you for healing and transformation. Attunement. When someone or something is important to you, you give it your full attention. Paying attention is how you demonstrate appreciation, love, or respect. Attention requires both your physical presence and your emotional presence. Attention is attunement. Tuning into your favorite activity or teacher or friend is a demonstration of what matters to you. Attunement is a full body expression of your whole self. Infants who receive attunement from a primary caregiver in the first 3 years are better able to manage and access a wide range of emotions as they grow and learn. Attachment researchers call these infants securely attached. Securely attached children have happy brains. This doesn't mean they're always happy children, it simply means their brains are functioning well. Attunement is the language of maternal love. Through her gaze, sounds, and touch, a mother teaches her baby how love feels. A baby adores her mother's face. She doesn't care if her mother is brilliant or beautiful. She just wants her to be present. Even if a baby can't yet focus on every detail of her mother's expression, she feels her mother's attunement. Dr. Edward Tronick conducted experiments to illustrate maternal attunement. In his now famous still face experiment, mothers begin by engaging with their babies in a familiar way. We watch how they enjoy each other, sharing sounds, gestures, and eye contact. After a few minutes, the mothers are instructed to disengage from their babies and keep a still face while staying in the same place. The mother stops smiling and making sounds. After only a few moments with a non-responsive, expressionless mother, the previously joyful babies become confused and stressed.
Terrible.
They cry out in protest and strain to get the mother's attention again. Universally, the babies make repeated attempts to re-engage with their mothers, while the mother's face remains blank.
That's horrible.
The interaction is really difficult to watch. We can see the distress. It's as if the baby is saying, "What happened? Where did you go?
Pay
What's
attention
wrong?
to me."
I need you." Without attunement, a baby can't tolerate her mother's proximity. It's not enough that her mother's physically there. The baby needs her to be emotionally there too. Fortunately, in this experiment, the mothers make fast repairs, otherwise this would just be cruel, by reaching for their babies, smiling, cooing, and soothing the distress. The live demonstration between mother and babies shows us how powerful the warm dance of attunement is. These early relational lessons are building blocks for secure attachment and future self-worth. In addition to maternal attunement, we get to see how resilient and adaptable babies are in the still face experiment. With sensitive soothing, they quickly recover from distress. No mother is perfectly attuned to her baby all the time, nor does she need to be. The tuned-in mothers don't let their little ones struggle too long or too often. Like the mothers in the Tronic experiment, they make timely repairs when they miss a cue for connection. This back and forth between a mother and her baby builds trust and secure attachment and is essential for the developing right brain. Current research shows us that by her 3rd month, a baby girl is mimicking her mother's sounds and expressions. And by month 4, Beatrice Beebe, clinical professor of psychology at New York State Psychiatric Institute and expert on mother-infant communication, documents that infant girls lose facial expressions that their mothers don't have.
Mm.
Beebe's research has profound implications for a baby girl whose mother is constantly on the phone, distracted with too many other responsibilities, or simply has a flat expression. A mother's facial expressions not only communicate emotions, but they are also creating the brain circuitry for her baby. The quality and presence of the maternal gaze is part of this psychobiological process. So we can understand how lack of maternal attunement is a form of early adversity. Love is not enough. Love alone is not enough for building secure attachment. And shared DNA is not a guarantee that a child feels loved. Attunement translates love into baby language. In fact, regardless of our age, we all experience love from attunement. We attune to the people who matter to us, or at least we try. Many of us struggle because attunement doesn't come naturally. If we weren't nurtured this way as children, we need help learning how to tune in to those we care about. This explains the popularity of the mega best-selling book, The 5 Love Languages.
Mm.
In it, author Gary Chapman teaches adults how to express
I love
love in
that
ways a partner can feel. Chapman explains that it is not enough to be in love. We must express love in the language our partner understands.
Mm-hmm.
Since this is true for adults,
Do you all know what your love language is? Mine is acts of service and quality time. But acts of service is like number 1. Which means that I like for people to do things for me, like taking out the trash, vacuuming the carpet, doing things that I don't have to do is how I receive love. And I really appreciate it when things are done around the house, or just in general, just things being done that I don't